They say history is written by the victors, but maybe that's not true. Maybe it's written by the obedient, the ones who never questioned too loudly, never thought too deeply, never risked being the fool. The strange thing about truth is, it rarely dies with violence. It dies with applause, with polite nods, with people who simply go along. Athens, 399 BC. The night air is still. A man sits in his cell, surrounded by silence. Socrates, accused of corrupting the youth, holds a small cup of poison in his hand. He raises it to his lips, calm, steady, as if toasting the gods themselves. Around him stand the men who condemned him, friends, students, judges. None of them evil, just normal. They didn't hate him, they just didn't understand him. And for most of history, that's all it takes. He wasn't killed by monsters. He was killed by ordinary men who believed they were doing the right thing. Men who valued peace over truth. Men who chose comfort over clarity. And that pattern never stopped. 1,000 years later, Galileo lifts his telescope toward the night sky and whispers, "It moves." The earth, he sees, circles the sun, but when he shares it, the church, the guardian of order, commands him to kneel and recant. He obeys, not because he was wrong, but because he was tired, because the truth costs more than most people can pay. Giordano Bruno wasn't so lucky. He said the universe might be infinite, with countless worlds beyond ours. They tied him to a stake and burned him alive, for daring to imagine, for refusing to shrink his mind to fit the size of their fear. Centuries later, Alan Turing would break the Nazi Enigma code, save millions of lives, and then be destroyed by the same society he served, punished for who he was, not for what he'd done. And Hannah Arendt, writing after the war, would see it for what it was, the quiet horror of normal people. She called it the banality of evil, ordinary men and women doing their jobs, following the rules, never asking what the rules were for. That's the psychology of the average man. Not stupidity, not malice, just obedience. A life designed to fit, to blend, to never stand out too much. We like to think we're free from that now, but the same machinery hums around us, sleeker, quieter, digital. We don't have inquisitions anymore. We have algorithms. We don't burn heretics. We shadow ban them. We don't silence thinkers. We drown them in noise. And the tragedy? It works. Because we're trained for it. From childhood, the system rewards obedience long before it rewards intelligence. The good student isn't the one who understands. It's the one who remembers. The good employee isn't the one who questions. It's the one who performs. The good citizen isn't the one who thinks. It's the one who agrees. We mistake compliance for virtue. We confuse imitation with intelligence. And slowly, the fire inside us dims. Most people don't choose mediocrity. They drift into it. They make a few small compromises, tell a few safe lies, suppress a few dangerous truths, and suddenly, they wake up at 40, surrounded by comfort but starved of meaning. It happens quietly, in the small moments, when you laugh at a joke you don't find funny, just to fit in, when you stay silent in a meeting because your idea feels too strange, when you scroll past something true because liking it might cost you approval. Each time the soul bends just a little, and the world gets more predictable. That's how mediocrity wins, not by force, by fatigue. It tells you to stay busy, to keep scrolling, to trust that someone smarter has already figured it all out. It rewards repetition, not revelation, familiarity, not insight. It builds a world where nobody's wrong, because nobody's really thinking. Carl Jung called it the death of the soul, when a person stops listening to their own inner voice and starts echoing the collective one. It's not evil, it's efficient. A system like that doesn't need to censor ideas. It makes people censor themselves. Look around. You'll see it everywhere. In schools that teach memorization but not understanding. In offices where the safest idea always wins. In media that confuses volume with truth. We used to burn thinkers at the stake. Now we just ignore them until they stop speaking. But here's the thing. Truth never disappears. It just goes underground. It hides in quiet people who still think for themselves, in artists who create what they're not supposed to, in readers who question instead of consume, in the few who, even when surrounded by noise, stay awake. Because even though mediocrity wins the crowd, it never wins the soul. So what do you do in a world built to keep you comfortably average? Start small. Disobey quietly, not with rebellion, but with awareness. Say what you actually mean, even when it trembles in your throat. Let people disagree. Let silence fall. Don't rush to fill it. That's how you take back your mind. Then seek discomfort. Read something that challenges you. Sit alone without music. Let boredom stretch long enough for a real thought to arrive. The mind needs friction to stay alive. And finally, create something. Anything. Because creation is the purest act of rebellion in a world built on consumption. Every idea you bring into being weakens the system that feeds on repetition. And when you see mediocrity being rewarded, when systems prize obedience over intelligence, don't fight with anger. Respond with clarity. Ask simple, dangerous questions, the kind that make silence heavier, because mediocrity can't survive under light. The goal isn't to be extraordinary in the eyes of others. It's to stay uncorrupted in your own, to live in such a way that you never have to betray your inner voice just to belong. Socrates didn't die for philosophy. He died for awareness. And awareness, even now, is rebellion. So when the world grows loud, when everything urges you to blend in, remember this vow. Curiosity over certainty, integrity over approval, awareness over comfort. And then ask yourself the one question the system fears most. If everyone obeys, who will remember how to see? If this truth stirred something in you, don't let it fade. Keep it alive. Share this message with someone who still listens, who still questions. Because the world doesn't change when everyone wakes up. It changes when one person refuses to go back to sleep.